Hey, hey. Oh, it's so nice to be here. I'm just going to let people come in. I know people say that all the time when they come on live, but I do. If you're joining me, please just send a little heart or let me know that you're there, and we will get going in just a second. So I live in the country. Just forgive me if internet is not stable. We've restarted the modem, so hopefully everything goes smoothly. Anyway, welcome. Good to see you here. Hi, Betty Shields. Goodness. I'll wave at you. Waving at everybody. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 1 of the 3rd chapter, Women Living Fully. I'm Kathie Donovan, and this is an idea I had because I feel that we all need permission to live our lives fully in our 3rd chapter. And our 3rd chapter to me is described as post 55 years, which is, the greatest blessing of all is to be alive. And so I want to help give us all permission to live our lives fully. Now, a lot of people say as we age, we become irrelevant. I'm sure you've heard it before. But when I hear somebody say that as we age, we become irrelevant, what I really hear is we become irreverent. And that is my mission. My mission is to bust myths and break rules and do it all while feeling so good about doing it, because we have so many conditioned thoughts and beliefs that are just not true about what it is to get older. And as I've mentioned before, it is the greatest gift. I know, just like I do, people who didn't make it past 50 years old or 55 years old. And so the fact that we're here is a blessing. And the fact that we can start to unlearn, maybe unpack a few things and relearn some ideas, that's really what I want to do in sharing stories of women who I believe are living fully in their 3rd chapter. So today I'm going to talk a little about myself. As we go through the series, I will share in those conversations with other women some other ideas that maybe might inspire you as well. And that is the whole purpose of this, is to get into the idea that we inspire one another by our actions, not by our yippity yip, by our ideas, our words. Our actions are what inspire other people. So I just want to live my life as fully as possible. And in doing so, I hope to inspire somebody to do something they may not have felt they had permission to do before. So we're going to talk about some of the challenges in this 3rd chapter that wake us up a little bit, some of the tools that we use to navigate through this 3rd chapter, and finally, the gifts and lessons that we can learn in this 3rd chapter of life. So let's start with the challenges, and I'll talk about some of the challenges that I've encountered. And let's start with the public perception of what it is to get older. I think so many concepts are outdated. The idea of retirement, outdated, no longer applicable to the society we live in today. And by the way, if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them as we go. If they pop up on the screen, I'll do my best to answer them. So I just want to say welcome to those of you who are just joining. This is the 3rd chapter, Women Living Fully. I'm Kathie Donovan, and I'm going to be talking a little about the challenges that I've encountered in my 3rd chapter. I'll first tell you that I'm 72 years old, and my 3rd chapter would have started around 55, with menopause and all the great things that started to show up in that decade of my life. So what I found was that the public perception of what it was to get older really stumped me because it did not feel resonant with who I am. And so that's why I say when I hear people saying as you get older, you're irrelevant, I really hear you are meant to be irreverent and you are meant to break the rules that you've been taught. We have so many conditioned thoughts and beliefs around what it is to get older, and we need to, each one of us, stand in our truth and challenge all of those concepts and ideas that are no longer applicable, because we deserve to have our best chapter in our 3rd chapter for sure. Okay, so the public perception really stumped me, and so I began to examine that in my own life. What were my perceptions of what it was to get older? And I really came up with the conclusion was that I want to have an ageless mindset, and maybe you do too. And so in order to not identify with any particular age or anything about the sort of common messaging we hear about getting older, I just talk about having an ageless mindset. I'm just going to pop my light on here for a second. There we go. There's no business like show business. Anyway, so that was the first thing that really got me going was the public perception. Then it's around what I call radical acceptance of myself. And this is one of the gifts, I think, of midlife, is that we in our younger years, we're trying to fit in with everything. We're trying to live up to people's expectations of us. And in some cases, as I did, giving our power to other people who we thought knew better than we know what is right for us. And only we know what is right for us ultimately. And so in this third chapter, when I talk about radical acceptance, it is accepting yourself exactly as you are, gloriously flawed, just like all the rest of us. We are all gloriously flawed. That's what it is to be human. Despite what marketing teaches us about perfection, whatever that means, there is no such thing. It's all advertising. It's all show business. And so if you start looking at yourself and learning to love on yourself and accept yourself the way you are, no matter where you are, that's a game changer. And that was the one thing that popped up for me was I had given so much of my power away to other people, to expectations that I had of myself through advertising and marketing. And I just recognized, man, you know what? I really like myself the way I am. I really enjoy my own company. I like how I think. And so when you start to embrace your midlife with radical, and I mean radical acceptance of yourself, it's a bold move. It's highly irreverent, and let's go for it. So moving into that was a real challenge for me. Then nutrition changes. You know, we have different needs nutritionally in our midlife, in our third chapter, than we did when we were younger. A lot of nutritionists talk about upping protein and getting the right protein at the right time, with the right combination, blah, blah. It's a lot to learn. And it's well worth investigating. I've kind of been on that train for a couple of years, learning and learning and learning. And I think that's really the cool piece is at this stage of life, recognizing you don't have to know everything. You can't know everything. Nobody knows everything. So when you're more curious and interested in learning about education than feeling you have to know all the answers, it really takes the pressure off and allows you to enjoy yourself in your life because only you have your lane. Your nutritional needs might be different from mine, and that's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Sleep changes. Anybody? Anybody noticing sleep changes in midlife? I think that's been a lot of women I talk to talk about how they have challenges with sleep. And so I've had to learn habits and practices that are going to help me, get that beneficial sleep because we need sleep as much as we need to be productive and busy in our lives. We need sleep. We need rest to counterbalance that and to fill us up so that we can be productive and have the energy that we all really want to have. So the other piece was managing expectations, managing other people's expectations of me and managing my own expectations of myself. That was a challenge for me that I have and I am continuing to learn and lean into and understand that if you have expectations of me, you're going to be very disappointed. And that's what I've learned about expectations. They set us up to be disappointed. It's much better for us to talk about doing our best and having a standard of excellence that's right for us instead of trying to meet other people's expectations of us or having high unmeetable expectations of ourselves. It's always good to set yourself up to do your best and to be your best. So that's been interesting. How about editing relationships? That's one thing I talk about in my retreat and in my books is editing relationships. Just because you met somebody when you were in grade school doesn't mean you have to be their friend when you're 60. Just because you have a history doesn't mean it's aligned. What makes you feel good in a relationship, in a friendship? Who's there for you? Who sees you? Who celebrates you? Who sits with you and holds space for you when you're struggling? That's a friend. And that may not be a friend you carried from your childhood. And when we feel badly about having to edit out friendships like that, well, it feels bad because it's awkward. It's very uncomfortable, but ultimately it is for our own good. In this third chapter, if we want to feel good, we need to surround ourselves with people who can help us to feel good about ourselves. No? Yes? Resonating? Good. Anybody have any questions, comments as we go? I don't know if I can see them or not, but let me just see what's happening. Okay, good. Okay, yes, I'm going to look at this request and we're going to let this. Last couple of things are detoxing from toxic environments and toxic people. So maybe like me, you worked in a toxic environment and you needed to sort of let that go and embrace the present where you are right now. Some people have toxic relationships they have to detox from. We all have something we need to look at to heal within ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has it all together. That is the wisdom of midlife. Recognizing that we're all flawed. It's great to recognize that we're in good company, if you know what I mean. And then the last thing I'll mention in the challenge department was how to dress. Clothing, I found it really challenging because I am a petite, I'm under 5 feet tall, and I'm a curvy hourglass shape. And I didn't know any of that. I knew I was a petite, but I didn't know anything about my body shape or my style or anything like that. And I did have some help along the way from my sister-in-law who kind of got me going. Thank you, Garna. And then from the wonderful women at Shepherd's Fashions who helped me to embrace the shape I have and to learn how to dress it so I can feel good. But that was a real challenge for me. I've always been a jeans person, and in my work in television and radio, I always wore jeans. It was a very casual environment, so it wasn't such a change that way, but it was really learning how to dress my body and to celebrate the curves I have, celebrate myself as I am, and that plays into that radical acceptance. So those are some of the challenges that I encountered along the way. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the tools that I use to help me navigate in this third chapter. And if you have comments, questions, pop them in the box at the bottom, and I'll do my best to answer as we go. So I started practicing yoga from a book when I was about 18 or 19 years old. It was a book I took from the library, and I started to teach myself the sun salutation. And eventually I did take yoga classes, and it came in and out of my life for many years. But over the last, I'm going to say 10 or 12 years, yoga has been pretty much a daily practice in my life. My husband is also into yoga. We do a 20-minute practice in the morning. We have a DVD we put in a machine, and that's what we do. And then we meditate following our yoga practice, which really sets us up for the day and sort of clears out the debris and helps us to be more present for what we have to do in that day. So yoga and meditation. If you're not into yoga, that's cool. Just whatever kind of physical activity helps you clear out the cobwebs is fantastic. And meditation, meditation isn't one thing, it's many, many, many things. And so it's important for us to find a style that resonates with us. But really, it's just a way to calm everything down. It's not about stopping thinking, it's just a way to calm everything down and center ourselves so that we're present in the moment. That's how I like to think of yoga. I have learned to prioritize myself, and we don't have children, so we are in a, in that sense, in a privileged position because both my husband and I are career-oriented people, and we really I love what I do working, and so does my husband. So, but the self-care piece around prioritizing myself has become more and more important to me. So it's about, making time just to be alone by myself, to reflect and journal and read and all of that kind of thing. The pandemic did me a great service in that respect because I do enjoy my own company. And I think that's one thing as human beings that we can all learn to do better, is to enjoy our own company and not to be so uncomfortable about being by ourselves and with our thoughts, and to rather use that time to reflect and to ask for guidance from that invisibleness, whatever you believe in, and to, just have some time to read a book and learn something. I have a book stack that I just love that serves me very, very well. So prioritizing myself, that's around self-care too. So that's making time to walk in nature and making appointments to see people who I know can help me feel good in my life. So massage therapy, I go to a chiropractor, all of that sort of stuff. Having a very serious gratitude practice, I do. And it is the bottom line of everything I teach other people. We take so much for granted in our lives, and many of us are angry at life. We are bitter about life. We hold on to all kinds of stuff. And that is our journey. That is our lesson. Those things are there for us to learn something from, to heal from. And gratitude really is an incredibly powerful energy. And you can start by writing down 3 to 5 things every day you're grateful for. You can do it first thing in the morning, at the end of your day. But it is a very powerful practice that really does bring you more to be grateful for in your life. It switches the channel from all the ruminating that we do when we're thinking about the future or the past. We're not present. And when we develop our gratitude practice, it forces our attention into the present moment. And so I'm grateful for all the wonderful things in my life, which I have numerous things in my life that are wonderful, but I'm also grateful for the lessons and the challenges that have come my way, because look, life is here for us, not happening to us. Life is happening for us, and it's showing us what we need to learn, where we can learn lessons. And so I really believe in, taking ownership and responsibility for our happiness, for how we feel about our day, how we feel about our lives. That's tantamount. And gratitude is the bottom line of that for me. So that's really important. Yeah, my book stack, I wish I could show you. It's sitting right over there. I'm currently reading The Mindful Body by Ellen Langer. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm reading the book Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima. It's also beautiful. And I'm reading a book called Wabi Sabi. I have quite a diverse book stack. Peter Attia's book Outlive is on my book stack as well. The Light We Carry, Michelle Obama. So I always try to keep something that's going to keep me learning, growing, expanding my awareness, expanding my appreciation for this life that we've been given in the 3rd chapter. So I think that's really important. Magnesium has become a big part of my life. And thanks to my chiropractor, Dr. Ed Chiquin, for introducing me to the power of magnesium glycinate. I use it for sleep. It really does help me. It helps during the day too. I take a little in the morning and a little more at night before bed. Grounding, that's another thing that, sorry, my eyes watering here. That's another thing that I've heard about, read about for years and years and years, didn't really pay too much attention to, but the principle is that because we have rubber-soled shoes, so often we're not in touch with the earth, and we get a lot of energy from the earth. And when we're not grounded, I guess our energy is a little bit scattery McScatterson. So grounding helps us to be attached to the proper energy, calms our system, helps with inflammation in the body. Grounding has been a bit of a game changer over here. Still learning about it. I'm just sort of embarked on studying about it. I got a grounding mat. I've just ordered a grounding sheet for the bed. I'm very interested in this. It's supposed to help with sleep. It's supposed to help with inflammation, to help manage pain, etc. So it might be worth investigating if it's something that resonates with you. I love to practice what I teach other people. That's been the biggest game changer in my life. My 2 books, Inspiration in Action, A Woman's Guide to Happiness. I talk about ideas such as, gratitude that I just mentioned, having courage to stand in the truth of ourselves, that we are beautiful and wonderful and gloriously flawed. And isn't it great? Practicing forgiveness, being kind, having healthy boundaries. These are all lessons that I didn't know about before, but since I've been practicing with the ideas that I teach other people over the last 20, 25 years, my life has totally turned around. I'm not the same person I was back then. I'm just not. I'm not interested in gossip. I don't want to judge people. I'm a work in progress, trust me, but I do my best to stay on the up and up with myself so that I can really feel good in my life. That's important to me. Walking is a big one. That's getting exercise, so what they call in Japan, they call it forest bathing, Shinrin Yoku. It's walking in nature, not having an agenda or a destination, and just really observing what's happening. You don't have to be in a rush, just enjoy being in nature. So anytime I can be in nature with the trees, I feel so good. And I'm sure you do too. And then I love to look for joy snacks in my day. Joy snacks make me thrive. I'm telling you, that could be a bit of music. It could be a phone call with somebody. It could be something to eat, but it doesn't have to be a food snack. It can be something else, anything that brings you a little joy throughout the day. And we have to make them happen. They don't just happen. We have to create our joy snacks or look for joy snacks. It's the same as gratitude. Look for things to be grateful for in your life. That's really important. And then writing. I am so blessed to work with the Wellings. It's a fantastic community for 55 plus folks going right across Canada. And I'm the ambassador for the Wellings. I write a blog every month. We record some video to help inspire people in their third chapter to embrace this stage of life and to explore things we may not have had time to do when we were working full time or being parents full time or taking charge of our homes full time. So it's very exciting, and writing has taught me an awful lot, including that I'm pretty good at it. I didn't really know that for the longest time, but it's been just great to learn more about myself, learn more about life, and learn more about this incredible power we have in this third chapter. So I'm going to wrap up by talking about some of the gifts and some of the lessons that I've received in this third chapter of my life, and then I'll say goodbye for now. So I want to talk about the fact that aging is a gift. It is a privilege. Again, I'll repeat what I said at the beginning. When they say we're irrelevant, when we get older, I say we are irreverent. That's what I hear. I don't hear irrelevant, I hear irreverent. And so I think the gift of aging is absolutely spectacular for however long we have. Nobody knows how long they have to be alive. So every day is just a gift, and it's an opportunity to learn more, to do better, to enjoy more, and to be more of ourselves and to share ourselves more in the world as well. So I now know to listen to my own good guidance. That's been one of the gifts for me of this chapter of my life. I've taken all of my power back from giving it to other people who I thought knew better and who I felt I could trust with my knowing what was right for me. And I realized that they can't know. They have their journey, their lessons, it's theirs, not mine. And so I've taken my power back, and I learned to listen to my own intuition, to my own good guidance. And here's the thing, like, I don't always get everything right, but I know then just to try something else. It's not failure. It's just another take in life. That's all. So I think the idea of being more present, that's been a real gift to me, being present when I'm in conversation with somebody, being really interested in listening to what they have to say. And I think the cool thing too is really noticing the results when I introduce a new practice into my life. So whether it's a thinking habit that I've shifted out and moved in a new thinking habit and I see a result, that just lights me up, makes me feel so good that I'm a student of life. I'm not at that point at 72 where I think I know everything. Nobody can know everything. And anybody who presents that they do is just not being honest with themselves. There is infinite amount of knowledge. We are all just students here, doing our best, learning our best, and hopefully sharing what we learn with other people. I think I'm noticing more in life. I notice more in the seasons. I love to, they say it's kind of cliche, but I love watching birds. I love listening to birds singing. I love watching things shift at this time of year, the tulips starting to pop up, and, things just coming back to life in springtime just is so incredible. And having what I would describe as, integration in my life is another great gift. Not having to look for what they call work-life balance, but having integration where my work life and my play in life are not different. I'm the same person doing both, and it's just incorporated. Sometimes there's more work and sometimes there's more play, but it's just that harmony, that integration that really makes me feel so good. And then adding curiosity as a value. My values are educate, elevate, celebrate, collaborate, and now I've added be curious, because I ask myself now when I respond to situations, maybe defensively, why did I do that? Why did I feel I had to respond that way? And when we're curious, it means that we never have to put the pressure on ourselves to have all the answers. Just be curious. Be curious about everything. And then you just can't put a foot wrong if you're curious. Just ask questions. There are no dumb questions either. That's what I think is really cool. And the last thing I want to say is, teaching people what I have learned over the last, well, I've been studying personal development for over 25 years probably, and I teach workshops, and I've written books. I'm working on my third book right now, and it is really the greatest joy to teach other people what I know that's worked for me. Little bits of shifting out practices that don't serve us can really make a big difference in our third chapter, because we are far more powerful than we've been given credit for and that we give ourselves credit for. Then the last thing I'll say is going back to what I mentioned in terms of problems in the beginning for me around dressing my body. The greatest thing that's happened in the last little while is I started modeling for Shepherd's Fashions representing petites, because petites have not seen ourselves reflected in fashion. And so my mission really is to show petites that we are important and we matter too, and that with some slight adjustments, we can have some beautiful clothing that makes us feel fantastic. And that really has added to, it's a great compliment to the work I do with the Wellings, helping people in their third chapter to really embrace who they are and to enjoy life as much as we can to the max. Um, Thank you, Bev. Yes, acceptance is important to me. Yes, acceptance is everything. When we can accept ourselves as we are, it's a game changer. I'm not looking to anybody else to validate me anymore. I validate me. It's all good. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. If you have questions, comments, I would love to hear from you. And I will be back very soon with another chapter, another episode in the third chapter, Women Living Fully. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye for now.